Welcome to the Rachel and Cassandra show. Before we begin, our disclaimer. Sometimes these girls sound kind of like attorneys and financial advisors, but they are not.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for spending time with, usually I'd say us, because it's me and Cassandra. She's having some technical difficulties. My hope is that she will still join us. But today, we have a guest in alignment with our mission to always be bringing you something amazing. Whether you are a consumer or a real estate professional, our goal is to bring you information that you may not readily find everywhere, right? We live in a time where information is over available, and it's really hard to tell which pieces are real. And it's also hard to trudge through the redundancy of the same top 5 pieces of information. So we're looking for some meat here. And in that vein, I have my friend, Billy Alt, and I loosely call you my friend, Billy, but I've known you for a lot of years. And he is the founder and CEO of 700 Credit Repair and a consumer credit expert witness licensed to provide credit testimony in state and federal court, which I did not even know was a thing, and 2 times best-selling author. I cannot thank you enough, Billy, for joining me today. I am going to pick your brain. You'll probably have to take a nap when we're done.
Not at all. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited about this. And what do you mean loosely friends? I thought we've known each other for a while. It seems like for a long time. It's got to been like, I don't even know when we first met. 5 years ago or something. It's been a long time, I think.
Yeah, I was and I say that because I don't go to your house, you don't come to my house, but
it's because we live in Detroit and Texas. That's the only reason. Yeah, you're in Detroit, I'm in Texas. That's why.
Absolutely. And I was thinking about that this morning. I think the first time I met you, I don't know if it was the first time, but it was Ryan Stuman, Break Free Academy, one of his first in-person events that I attended, and I think that was in 2015. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes, it does because that's around the same time. I think you and I kind of joined that platform around the same. I think right at the same time. I think it was my first live deal as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why we connected. I didn't really know what to expect out of all that stuff, but man, I want to tell you, I've made a lot of good relationships as a result of that.
Me too.
This is one of them. Really, seriously, I have. And do you like Ellen DeGeneres?
Yes, I do.
Like Ellen? Okay, so you know how her guests bring her gift. You know how
I did. No, I think what you said is her guests bring her gifts.
Yes, so I brought you a gift.
Oh.
I just have to mail it to you. I brought you a gift. Look.
Oh, yeah. I will rock that so hard. I'm a solid medium. I will take it all day long. I love it.
So here's the thing about that, though. I'm out of mediums, but I do have a large. So I'm going to mail you a large. Perfect. And I'm going to mail Cassandra one because it was funny because she mentioned it. So I'll send you guys 2. And then whenever I get some mediums, then I'll send those also. So yes, perfect. I brought you a gift. It's going out today.
I will totally take it. And all I have is chick tank tops with my logo. So I'll find something amazing to send to you.
I'll tell you, I'm glad to wear one.
Okay. All right. I have this on recorded evidence.
No.
Speaking of evidence.
No.
Okay. Okay. So I feel like I would almost be better serving the entire listening base if I start with, because you're a credit repair guy, and in the industry that I'm in, real estate, I feel like you help people in all industries. You have credit problems. It's not necessarily tied to real estate. But what I want to know is, what are the most common misconceptions that you see that bite people in the ass because they think one thing and they do the thing, and then they show up in front of you and you're like, oh, no, you did that totally wrong. You actually hurt yourself with those moves. How do people...
So that's actually a great question. The space that I really enjoy is the mortgage space, the real estate space, because that's my background too. So I kind of complain about loan officers sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like loan officers complain about realtors. You know how that goes down. I kind of complain about loan officers because they give terrible advice. Yes. And I want to tell you this, Rachel, when it comes to credit you have a makes sense switch in your head. Whenever it comes to credit, you have to turn off the makes sense switch because it makes zero sense, makes no sense. It
Yes.
really doesn't. So a credit score, a FICO score, is not a score or a grade of how you. It's not a grade or a score of how you pay your bills. It's really not. It's a grade or a score of the likelihood of you repaying a debtor back or a creditor back, right? So people think, well, if I just pay my bills and have some credit, then life's going to be good. It's not. It's not at all like that. It's if you have too much credit, if you're maxed out, then that could hurt your score. So just because you pay your bills on time does not mean that you necessarily have great credit. There's a lot more to it. And some advice that I see a lot is when people have negative accounts, they think they can outrun those negative accounts by adding positive accounts, which is actually so counterproductive because FICO has a very, very strong distaste on opening multiple accounts at the same time. So, and also as far as revolving accounts, FICO puts very, very little emphasis on accounts that are below $2,000. So what I hear a lot is a loan officer says, go get a secured $300 credit card and open 3 of them up. And it's just creating more problems. And then it just keeps compounding because now if that person has recent collections and recent new open accounts, it's a bigger problem. If that person also has excessive inquiries, meaning more than 3 in a year, now all of a sudden you're trying to get credit, bunch of inquiries, you've got recent collections or charge-offs. Like that mixture creates a bankruptcy is what comes of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and you are jamming so much in. I'm just going to back you up a little bit. No, it's fine. I mean, when you're talking at a high level, I love it. There are people out there who may not know what you mean when you say a negative account. Is that something in collections? Is that what you call it? A negative account?
Actually, so FICO calls it a baddie, a BADDIE, a baddie. So a negative account to me, when I say the word negative, it's a 30-day late, 60-day late, any negative entries on the credit report.
Okay, so negative means like it's hitting your credit report in a negative way, something that hurts you.
Exactly.
And what is FICO? What is that again?
FICO is the Fair Isaac Corporation. So there's 3 credit bureaus. There's a lot more than that, but there's the big 3: TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, and then FICO, the FICO score company, Fair Isaac. They're a completely separate, different for-profit business. Have nothing to do with the credit bureaus. So they gather the data.
Yes. They sell a product.
They sell a product that 98% of lenders and bankers use. So, and that's why I'm getting way out of whack here.
No, we'll go back to it.
Vantage Score, you've heard of the Vantage Score, like a Credit Karma score? So what happened was a few years back, the 3 credit bureaus came together and said, man, we're paying FICO. FICO's making millions of dollars a year, whatever. Let's control it all and create our own score. So they own the Vantage Score, and it's never done anything. It's never taken off.
Is that what you get on Credit Karma or my Citibank or Capital One Visa, whatever? I can go look, and it's not the same as what my loan originator is going to use to get me approved for a mortgage.
Correct. Complete different scoring model. They put a complete different set of emphasis on different items than FICO does.
Yeah. This is like his estimate.
Yes, it really is. It really is. And because Zillow thinks they can go in and take over that business too, but that's not necessarily the case. And that's exactly what happened with the Vantage Score. But also the credit bureaus a few years back, they have to give us our 1 free credit report a year, right? So it's annual credit report. Problem with annual credit report, nobody goes there because there's no score, blah, blah, blah. So they can't generate leads and gather data that way. So that's why they came up with a Vantage Score to offer a free score. Gotcha. And then attract them to sell credit reports. So that's kind of the deal.
Okay, so back to the thing I interrupted you. All right, so you were talking about having negative accounts, bad advice from loan officers, including go get a bunch of $300 low line of credit accounts.
Yes.
And that is
We hear that all the time.
Yeah.
We hear that all the time. So That is not right. That is not right. We can talk more on as to why it's not right. Their other thing is not necessarily theirs, but the other incorrect information I hear is just dispute it. Just dispute it. If you have a negative account,
Yes.
just dispute it. And then, and furthermore, dispute it online. The problem with disputing it online, when it gets verified, you waive your right to ask to see the verification method, the proof of verification, right?
So
Because it's
hold
an
on.
electronic dispute.
You have a right to see the proof of the report of the, slow that down.
Verification.
Yeah.
So let's say I dispute an account for my customer, right? So if it's a collection account, they have to validate that loan has to be validated. That account has to be validated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they send, so we send in a dispute, we open a dispute, the bureau verifies it or whatever with the creditor, and let's say it comes back verified. Our next move is we send a certified letter to that collection company. We say, hey, pump the brakes. I don't know what you're talking about. This is news to me. It's on my credit report. Can you please validate that debt? So they have 30 days to send to you if you ask for it and you have proof of it. They have 30 days to show you what the debt is, who the original creditor was, balance, what they paid for it, everything, totally everything.
Really?
So, and during that 30 days, Rachel, they can't report anything to you to a credit bureau. So we take advantage of the dispute process during that 30-day window. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like, let's take a charge off, original charge off, original creditor versus a collection. It's a different set of rules, right? So they have to, they can send a contract. They don't have to send anything actually, but their backup when we ask for it or the consumer asks for it, if they can send a contract, a statement of the account, like the verification's very, very loose.
So let's do a real life example so we can start tying some of these terms to a scenario. I'm going to say I have a Sears credit card. I don't know why, because I don't have a Sears credit card. Is Sears even still there? Anyway, for this scenario, I have this Sears credit card, and I went and I bought toasters and linens and clothes and tools. And this was 10 years ago, and I never paid off that credit card. If Sears is still around and still holding that debt, that is called what?
That is called a charge-off. And
So
it's
they
funny you
wrote,
use
why?
it's funny you use Sears because I always use Sears. I don't know why. I
It's
always
because we're
use
connected, man. It's a charge off because they
Yep.
took a write off on the loss and they didn't sell the debt to someone else
Correct.
and make money out. Now, can they still sell it if they sold it to a collections agency?
So here's the deal with that, right? So that Sears charge-off is only going to report to your credit bureau for 7 years, right? And depending on the amount, like let's say it was a Capital One credit card instead with $10,000 balance. So
Yeah.
it's first off, it's going to be on your credit report for 7 years. So two things: the law of diminishing is going to apply. The older that debt gets, the less, in fact, it's hurting you, right? That's a that's a huge deal.
That is. And I would take a moment to restate that because one of the things that really what kind of blew my mind when I started learning about how illogical your credit score really is that if you have an old debt and you finally find yourself in a position to tackle it, people's inclination and you think the right correction is to just go pay it or make payments on it. And in fact, you're reawakening a bear that's going to get heavy on
Exactly.
your report again. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the other piece of bad advice. That's another one of our bad advice that people get is paying off a debt, paying off, just pay it off. If you pay off a collection, if a lender pulls your credit report and you pay off a collection, it doesn't go away. It just makes it newer. FICO cares more about the date than the balance. They care more about, so, and it starts affecting all kinds of other things with the score. The score has so many veins that go down it. So then, like, again, if you have maxed out credit cards, and let's say you had a charge off that's 6.5 years ago, it's probably hardly even hurting you. Well, or let's say it was a collection account that you paid off and it renewed. I mean, it's now you have maxed out credit card and a brand new collection
Yeah.
and a bunch of inquiries. So just that brand new collection, not only did it lower your score, but like yes, it's deadly, can be deadly. And if you have other ones that are new, it's not as bad. But I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you could really be opening like a can of worms for yourself. So the Sears deal. So Sears has 7 years to report it to the credit bureau, right? The older it gets, the less it's hurting you, and the more of what it becomes junk debt. The more junk debt it becomes, right? It becomes trash debt, junk debt. Nobody wants it because after 4 years, the statute of limitations applies. So if I'm a collection company, I only have within 4 years of the date of the first missed payment to sue you, to get a judgment against you, to put it on your credit report, to threaten you, to harass you, right? So usually Sears would keep that debt for 2.5, 3 years, try to collect on it. The older it becomes, they'll start, hey, Rachel, we'll cut it in half, or hey, Rachel, whatever. And so
Yes.
right before the 4 year mark, 3.5, whatever, then boom, they'll go sell it to Midland Collections or whatever for probably 20 cents on the dollar. Collections business is a $52 billion a year industry. That's insane. And without it, the whole credit card industry would collapse, is what I totally believe that. So the older, once it's at the 4 years limit, right, the statute of limitations, they can't sell it. They can't come after you for a judgment. So it really starts like devaluing in what they can sell it for.
So
And
they can't do anything after 4 years. If they sell it on year 3, then the collections agency only has that final year still. That 4 years is
correct.
attached to the debt, not who owns it.
Correct.
And if nobody can collect, it just sits there old for 3 more years and then disappears?
Yes. It doesn't necessarily always just disappear. I've seen accounts that are 15 years, 8 years old, 12 years old on the credit report that were negative. Just like a positive account. I've got, like my first house I bought, I don't know, it's fell off, but I've got stuff from a long time ago on my credit report. It's over 7 years. It's been closed over 7 years, but they haven't it maybe fell off 1 or 2, but not all 3 of them. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So
but
it's more like this used to exist, but it doesn't carry any weight. So if somebody's just looking for a number, it's not influencing the number.
If it's on the credit report, it is. It would be.
Even if it's over 7 years old?
Yes, because it's still marked a baddie. It's still marked a baddie. It's still so now you're classified, your score bucketed with people with 1 bad account or 7 bad accounts or 12 bad accounts or whatever. So and that rarely happens. Usually at 7 years that data goes away. It really does. But I've seen not many, and I've got over 20,000 documented contracts signed helping people with credit repair. So we look at a lot of credit reports. So I've only seen it a few times. So that's kind of, you know what I'm saying? But still, a bankruptcy though is 10 years. A public record is 10 years. But original credit, like charge-offs, collections, all that stuff is 7 years. So
what about tax debt? Is that on there?
No, it used to be, but about 3 years ago, they passed a law where, there's no tax debt, sales tax, IRS tax, anything.
Interesting.
Because we would see sales tax debt, literally from business owners or whatever, for a company, I have to pay my sales tax in the city, whatever. We used to see that, and then that went away, and then we've always seen taxes as far as IRS tax debt and that stuff. But no, 3 or 4 years ago, they made it where they can't work that any longer. Also, this is something pretty cool. This just happened, and I really don't have all the facts on it, but I'll tell you about it. It's pretty cool. So you'll go to a lender. You know this better than anybody. You'll go to a lender, and the lender says, "Oh, medical debt doesn't count on your credit, right? Doesn't count on your credit." But it does count on your credit because it's reducing your score. If it gives me a 580 credit score, it's certain it is hurting me. You know what I'm saying? So that's another bad piece of advice. Medical bills do hurt your credit report.
So where do you think that comes from, that lie? Because I've heard that medical debt doesn't count, and that recently they changed it so your student loan debt doesn't count, which sounds like a load of crap to me.
Yeah, the student loan debt's not true. So How do I think? So ask that question again. How do I think
Why? Where does that lie come from? Why do people think medical debt no longer counts? Because it
because
doesn't count on the Vantage
yeah,
score.
no,
Oh,
because okay, so when you have people and but it doesn't account on Vantage Score, but you know how you'll have people that you'll dispute an account for them, like we have to open a dispute, then you'll see on a credit report it says in dispute. It says
yeah.
consumer disputes. So those disputes have to be removed. If it's a charge off or an original creditor or a utility collection, an account cannot be in dispute. It can't be in dispute. So like if we dispute 20 accounts, 10 come off, the score goes up, we have to pull the other ones out of dispute, right? We have to stop the dispute because in certain cases that account's being ignored from the FICO algorithm, right? Medical
You got to
accounts, you
say
don't
that
have to.
again. Hold on. That totally just, you lost me.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Say that one again because I really want to
No.
understand. This helps me help my clients, right?
Okay. Okay. No, this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. There's so much bad. This is the single biggest thing, bad piece of advice or whatever that loan officers give customers.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you dispute anything on a credit report, we have to open up a dispute.
And
Okay.
you're
So
opening that
you're
up with TransUnion if that's where it's showing up or Equifax. Okay.
yep.
So you do
All
that.
three of them. All
Okay.
three of them. So as soon as we send in that dispute, there's an XR code. It's a 2-digit code that gets attached to that credit report
Okay.
for 30 days. For 30 days, okay? It
Yes.
doesn't come up by itself for 30 days. So for 30 days, there's a notation on the credit report that says in dispute, consumer disputes, customer disputes, okay?
Yes.
So let's say I have a $10,000 credit card with a $10,000 limit and a $10,000 balance, and it's maxed out. And because it's maxed out, it's hurting my score. And it's lowered my score 60 points. Okay.
Yes.
So I can pay that balance off, right? And then when you dispute it, whether I paid it off or not, you can dispute that account. And for 30 days, FICO is going to ignore that account, the account on that credit report.
So they're basically taking the weight of that information off of your score, but it
For
says
30
on
days.
there that this is in dispute. So it still shows as a
Yes.
thing
Yes.
with zero weight.
Correct. So the lenders, the banks don't like it because if I'm falsely disputing accounts,
In order
it
to get the lighter score,
yeah, it's fraud.
it
So
is
I
fraud.
could because the 31st day it's being reinserted and it's still a $10,000 balance, right? So
Okay.
that's like adding trailers.
So this
So
advice of dispute is like, hey, let's commit some fraud.
yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that. I guess you could say that. I mean, absolutely. I mean, like that's like adding trade lines. It's one thing to clean up negative items and that can't be verified, but
Yeah.
it's another thing to insert false bullshit on a credit report to make the score go up, and then it's the same customer that it was 30 days ago. Like that's
Yeah.
definitely fraud.
Yeah.
So,
Got
but
you.
here's the other thing. So when we dispute, we're disputing like charge offs. Okay, like a charge off. If there's a charge off with like a $50,000 balance, that goes into their like open utilization because that's actually still due. When you dispute that account, it's ignored, right? So the score can falsely go up for a number of reasons. Collection accounts, when you dispute a collection account, it says in dispute. Collection accounts are ignored by the FICO dispute process, but they still put on the notation in dispute, right? But if it's a third party, that rule only applies to original creditors. That rule does not apply to collection accounts, right? I know we're all over the place. So here's the deal. So if I dispute collection accounts, and let's say one of the collections is a utility and one's a medical, I still have to remove the in dispute comment from the utility one, but not the medical one, right? So let's say we go dispute 20 things, I get 10 removed, the score goes from 580 to 640, and there's still 10 items in dispute. The ones that are not medical, we have to remove those comments. If they're a medical collection, the comments are fine. They don't care.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that because of that, because of the dispute comments and the dispute comments having to be removed, medicals never had to be removed because medical is not a bill. It's not a finance deal. A medical debt shouldn't even be on a credit report. It really
Right.
shouldn't because it wasn't finance. It was never there was no contract. So it wasn't an application. I may have broke my leg and you made me sign that I'm going to pay you, but that was not a contractual obligation. I did not enter into a finance agreement with anybody.
Right.
Like
They can't even, you can't even negotiate the price or even know the price up front of your medical care. It's like, that's a rabbit trail for another show, but it's mind boggling.
Number one source of bankruptcy.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Yeah,
you broke your
time.
leg and you have catastrophic only insurance and somehow it's a $30,000 surgical procedure.
So now
that can crush a family.
Going. So it absolutely can. So now let's keep going because now what they just passed like a month ago, like not even that, a couple of weeks ago really, is medical debt that is below $500. Medical debt below $100 cannot be reported to the bureaus. Under 500, it can be reported, but it's ignored. Paid off debt with zero balance now is going to not report to your credit report. So used to when you paid off a medical collection, they wouldn't remove it. Now they'll remove it.
Completely. Okay. Completely. So if I've got 2 years ago, I broke my leg and still owe $5,000. I never paid it. It's hurting me. If I come up with the $5,000 and pay it off, it goes away completely. It doesn't get revived like the credit card that I stopped paying on.
Correct. It gets removed from your credit report. And so furthermore, under $500 though, it's not, I got to rephrase that. Under $100, they're not going to report it. Under $500, it can be reported, but it's 1,000% ignored. FICO has no clue it's there. If it's $501 or higher, then all bets off. It's as it's always been. So if you have, and the thing is, everybody has medical debt that's over $500. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, and honestly,
so if it's under,
if they didn't, all the prices just went up to break that $500 mark.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Exactly. Happening. No, exactly. Which is just going to be a whole nother thing. So to me, it's not, I mean, it is a big deal because like, I don't have medical insurance. I'm self-insured because I'm self-employed, but,
me too.
But I lost my train of thought now, but like it's easy to miss $500 and let a $300 collection or whatever like slip through medical issues. It really is. I just had arm surgery, man. Like they're still sending stuff. Both of my daughters, twins, tore their ACL. $70,000 worth of stuff. I mean, it's crazy. So
it is crazy.
It's insane.
I have. I'm going to not tell all the stories I have about the times that I just paid cash when I hit the door and the times that I billed through my insurance and how dramatically different the prices are starting there. But
yeah, that's a whole other show. So
it is a whole other show. Yes.
So back to credit, I think, do you get the in dispute comment process? Do you get all that?
I do. I think so. I'm going to go back and look at my notes if you put it in dispute and you can get it removed, then it's like it never was. While it's in dispute, it's carrying no weight, but it's still acknowledged on the report. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So to tell customers to just like go dispute, that's terrible advice. Furthermore, to tell them to go dispute online. So when we dispute online.
Yeah, you were saying you're giving up some rights if you do it online.
Yes. Yes. So like the very first dispute, we open up a dispute, right? So now we know what a dispute is. So we open up a dispute. And if I go to Credit Karma and I dispute my credit because they say, hey, inaccuracies, dispute here. Well, what happens is they make 52 cents for bringing the customer. So the credit bureaus, this is a mind bore. The credit bureaus have the number one biggest hole in their P&L. What cost them the most money used to was the dispute process. Now, the dispute process, they've turned it into their number one profit center on their P&Ls, the dispute process. When you dispute an account, the credit bureaus go back and they charge 52 cents to the creditor to dispute it. And so these third parties that are sending them people to dispute, they're paying them a commission on it. You know what I'm saying? Like Credit Karma, bring me a dispute. All you got to do is push a button and then it's done. Then they bill 52 cents to the creditor and they give 25 cents to whoever brought them the lead. No joke.
Wow. So
It's
this is
insane.
why Credit Karma became a thing. It just kind of came out of the blue for all of us. Heavy
Yep,
marketing, know your credit score, take charge,
yep.
blah, de blah, de blah.
And it's a score that's not even relevant. Is what's crazy
No.
about it. That's how effective their marketing was and is. And they they're the biggest online broker of credit card accounts in the world that there is. They
Oh,
connect
yeah.
more people with a merchant account or a credit card account or a loan, a high risk loan or a car loan, Santander, than anyone. They're like the biggest affiliate for finance credit cards that there is. It's crazy.
So they're making
And,
money. I mean, it's a money making machine. It is not a not for profit trying to help people understand their
yep,
credit score.
they get paid
Which,
to send a dispute. They get paid when if I go get a Discover card through there because they're recommending it because of my credit score, they just
yeah.
make $75. I mean, it's crazy. It's really
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. And not that there's anything wrong with it, right? We're all here to make a living, but they hide it and
No,
present that
but
there's
they
something
hide it.
else.
That's right. That's they hide it. They're not transparent about it at all. They're so like even once you're a member and you call them and ask them or chat and ask them, you can't get a square answer out of their score. You know what I'm saying? They're just so vague about everything. Who else is like that is Lexington Law.
What is
They're even
that?
worse.
I don't know what that is. Is
Lexington,
it?
they're like a huge credit repair company. They
I'm glad you
they
went there because I was going to ask about your industry in particular.
This company's huge. They signed up. I don't know. I got an insurance company. My business partner, he actually owns the largest privately held merchant company in the world, and he does a portion of their billing. They use his company to run their credit cards in excess of 700 million. I mean, that's one merchant account. That's how
This is
much they're recurring.
Lexington Law.
Yes, yes. They sign
So
up like 5,000 people a month is what their new signups are. But they present themselves as a law firm. They also so they charge like 99 down and 99 a month. Quit when you want to. Here's what they do.
hold
You pay
on. What do
99
they
down.
offer? They're a credit repair organization. So if I'm a 580 score and I need to get to let's pretend I can qualify at a 640. Somebody
Yes,
might say, hey, call Lexington Law. They can help you raise
yes,
your score.
yes,
They pretend they're a law firm or
yes,
represent as though they're a legal
yes,
entity. All right. And
yes.
what else?
And they have no lawyers that work there.
No lawyers.
Um, so this is the crazy thing. My dispute process for my clients, my customers, it's unlimited everything. The sooner the better. If Rachel has a customer looking for a house and their lease is up in 3 months and they need 150 points on their score, then like we got to get busy. We got to get the ball rolling. Like I can make shit happen in 90 days. Like seriously, I just got to pull the trigger and let's go. So here's the way my dispute process works. What
Okay.
my company does, what we do for our clients is the sooner the better, right? I work with
Hmm.
folks like you, with realtors, with mortgage folks, and time is of the essence, right? So if the lease is up in 3 months, we got 3 months to get stuff going, right? Like if that. So my dispute process, we'll draft up we review the customer's credit, obviously. We go to the credit report with them. Like we and all of my girls, my processors, my paralegals, their background is mortgage stuff. They understand mortgages, but they understand credit better. So our process is we'll look at the credit report, review the credit report, and we know we look extras for what's hurting them, what's hurting
Yeah.
you, not how many deletions can I get, how much like how can I. There's a way to raise the score to an 850. There is. If you're a 550, there's a way to get to an 850. You just got to road map it out, like seriously, right? So
And
we're
it's
very hands on. We're very coaching. We're very like involved in that. So we draft up our letters and we send all of the letters to all three credit bureaus and all the creditors. And if somebody has 100 items, then we're attacking from day one every single item. And then in 2 weeks, we turn around and we do our next step, right? So we're just constantly just like jamming stuff down their throat. There's 247 laws, consumer laws that we can kind of angle our way in. So we're just constantly, all three of the credit bureaus, everything on that credit report, we're just hammering it.
so
We discussed about if we get like 10 items removed, but there's still 10 left. You know, if we don't have to get a perfect score. If we can get like 8 or 10 items on this first or second round, boom, then we're good to go, right?
well, and
So
it sounds like I'm going to just restate a couple of things because again, you're
yes,
bringing it hot and it's awesome. It's a lot. So it sounds like your company can help me, and forgive me if this is incorrect, but this is what I heard. You can kind of help me engineer my credit score to get what the FICO product specifically wants to see in order for me to get a mortgage. It sounds like that's your niche. And
That's
then
right, exactly
second,
what our niche is.
okay, so then I have a follow-up question, because you're doing all this stuff right out the gate. You said then you pick it up again in 2 weeks. It sounds like you have a nice tight process and an understanding of the laws, especially the ones that can be leveraged in the client favor. Does the client have to do anything too, or can I call you and say, Billy, here's my pile of garbage, sort through it and fix it for me?
So the pile of garbage, all that we're concerned about is what's on the credit report. So
Yeah.
yes, so all I need is like a credit report, seriously, and your IDs and stuff. And so what we do, we once a client signs up with us, yes, we're taking all that off their hands. So,
Okay.
but we also make like on our game plan, here's what you have to do to get a higher score. Remove bad if there's any, add good if there's not any, or make sure you have the right type and mixture of credit, and then you just pay over time and your score will go up, right? So my brain just goes, it's a little bit different.
Same.
So we're just constantly like boom, 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 staying in front of stuff, sending letters out. We're very, very, very front loaded, right? And so how we communicate with our clients and what I need from that client, we're going to give them we call it our recommendation sheet. Actually, we give them a recommendation sheet, a workbook that's taken me 15 years to put together, and we lay out their roadmap. Like example, if Rachel has 15 negative accounts, one credit card that has an $8,000 limit and a $6,000 balance, and maybe her car's paid off and that's really all she has, right? So maybe she's like a 600 credit score,
Okay.
right? So our goal would be to remove the bad as much as we can, right? That's on me. But here's what else Rachel needs to do. Rachel's mix of her credit is out of whack, right? And that makes up 15% of the score. So 15% of your score is coming from your mix. So here's what I need Rachel to do. I need Rachel to have 2 revolving cards and 1 installment account, right? So I'm going to say, hey, Rachel, you're a 600. Apple Credit will give you a $5,000 card without putting an inquiry on your bureau. So that's one recommendation, right? We've also got
Okay.
like a couple different jewelry cards and store cards that report, right? So we help build an account. And then I have an account called Self Lender, which is like an installment account, right? So Rachel's things to do list might be to open up these 2 accounts that I know she's going to get approved for, because they're, depending on your score, I may send you to like a higher risk account, like maybe a store, an online Amazon or whatever, a store type account.
Finger
Or
Hut.
whatever. A finger hut, perfect, exactly. They report to all 3 credit bureaus. They're on my workbook. They're a great revolving account. They only let you get like $100 on a $500 limit at first. So I know it's not going to affect your budget. You know what I'm saying? If you go get $1,000 credit card, next thing I'd look up next month, your score drops because your brand new credit card is now maxed out.
It's like they designed their product to force you to get a good credit score by using them. Kind of genius.
Yes, it really is. It really is. So for us, that coaching and that roadmap is everything, Rachel, because only 35% of your score comes from derogatory items. Only 35% does. 30% comes from your balances. 10% comes from your inquiries. 15% comes from your mix, and 15% from your age.
You got to say those again. Hold on. 35% derogatory reports, 10% is inquiries. That's funny because in my industry, everybody's freaking out about, I don't want that hard hit on my credit score. We'll talk about that in a minute. There was 30% on balance.
On utilization, yes.
Utilization. Balance. Yep. So we're at
15% on age.
What? Is it better or worse the older I get, or does it go up and then down?
You are getting better with age, and that's a compliment. You know what I'm saying? As easily as
aren't we all?
I mean, you really are. So, but yeah, your score does too. Your score does too.
Okay, so if I'm 90 years old, what's that?
Well, yes, because the older you are, like think about your grandparents. Like you don't see a young guy in driving out with a brand new, like, big Cadillac or whatever. I mean, seriously,
Hmm.
like the 800 credit scores, and mine's 834 as of today. But like, it's your grandparents who have 800s. You know what I'm saying? Because to have an 800 credit score, one thing you have to have is 20 years in the bureau.
Yeah.
20 years on the bureau. So you can't be 30 and have an 800 credit score. It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
You got, so
Is it
yes, the older you get, the more depth that you're creating, and
is
that's why
it
the score goes so much higher.
is it my age or the age of accounts? Because okay, so let's talk about adding
Same
people to my
difference.
accounts. Same to the credit
That's
book.
kind of the same. That's kind of the same difference, though, if you think about it, because like if you're as an adult, you're going to be you've been right now on the credit bureau for maybe, like, I don't
No,
know,
but
20
well,
or
hear
30
me out
years.
though. I put my son, who's half my age, well, he was at the time. So I'm 40, he was 20. I put him on my card. So his credit score is as old as he is, but it's my
Yeah.
credit score, and that's clear. If you pull the credit, you'll see that he's just a user on my account. Can
Yes.
he in that scenario get an 800 plus score?
If he had a 20-year-old account on his credit report, he absolutely could, and the other
Okay.
attributes that go with it. But yeah, so it's not by age. It's not by age. I see what you're saying now.
Okay.
It's not by age. It's by age of an account. I was thinking more like the older you get, like
Yes.
the deeper you go. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
The deeper.
sure, and I'm sure that was the intention, the spirit of the law in the letter of the law, right? So the spirit of the
Yes.
guideline is to track how you change through time, but the letter says it's tied to the age of the account. So is that something you
Really?
leverage for clients?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So we do leverage that because, and by leverage, I mean we take advantage of that. We that's makes up 15% of your score. So, and for us, for folks with limited credit or limited files or thin files, that's the first question we ask while we're doing our thing, while we're doing our write up and our sheet. Like, hey, Rachel, is your mom, dad, like, what's their credit like? And they'll tell you like, oh, I don't know. Well, what's he drive? Ford F-250. What year is it? Brand new? Yeah, he's got some. Your dad's got credit cards, right? So we always ask that question. Like, maybe you can get us an authorized user on your mother's account, father's account, grandma's account, grandpa's account, sister's account,
Yeah,
something
and
like
to be
that.
clear, like an authorized user doesn't have to use the credit. There's nothing like
No.
I put my son on my account, and as soon as the card came, I shredded it. I just needed it to report for him.
So you want to know something that's even crazier? This is how good FICO is. So in our industry, there
Hmm.
are trade lines that people sell. They'll sell you a space as an authorized user on this account, right? So, which is total fraud, man. That's a different story. That's a different story. If I'm gonna,
What?
you're gonna let me, that's total different story. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm gonna pay you $5,000 to get on that account to inflate my score falsely, that's BS. If
Oh
I put
my
Lexi
gosh.
on
Yeah.
my on our card 10 years ago, on our cards 10 years ago, all my kids I put on our cards. So I mean, the authorized user game is the way to go. But FICO's gotten it down to such a science, Rachel, that
Yeah.
they know if there's no relation between you and the person, then FICO will ignore it out of the algorithm. They'll
Ah.
100% ignore it. So what they look for address similarities. They look for um, any similarities. There's like a number of similarities. If there's no similarity, like if you put me on your credit card,
Yes.
there's not going to be any similarities of anything.
No.
Not even the same state, city, town, nothing. You know what I'm
No.
saying? Your son's a complete different story. Like it's a parent. There's all kinds of stuff, addresses and crap, that can be lined up. But it's fascinating to me that they've been able to pull those, and they miss a lot of them. They miss a lot, but they've been able to extract those types of authorized user accounts like from people's scores. It's really crazy.
That's a nice refinement of the AI, I think. And probably rightfully so if people were selling spaces on other people's credit lines.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yeah.
what's our last 10%? I'm missing one. I've got
Um,
derogatory
age of
35. Go ahead, you say them. Yeah.
you say them.
35% derogatory, 10% is inquiries, 30% is utilization, 15% is age of account.
Okay, then mix. The next one is the
Oh,
mix of
that's right.
account.
That's right.
So the mix is like FICO. Okay, so here's the bottom line. They look at like what are the attributes of an 850, right? So those are the positives. So if you look at that 10%, your mix, 850s carry a 2-to-1-ish revolving to installment account relation, right? So I don't have like, 6 cars and one revolving card. They like to see 2 to 3 revolving credit cards and then one installment account.
And
Two to
that
three one.
installment account is like a mortgage payment or a car payment, something I'm paying down over time.
Yep. Yes. So the mixture, like and it depends really on the age of your file, the length of time you've been in the bureau, but FICO has a strong distaste for opening new accounts too quickly, right? So you can't just go out and open up a bunch of revolving cards or whatever. Over time, like I think, I don't even know. I got like 20 revolving credit cards. I got probably 2 or 3 installment loans on my credit, which is a healthy mix because I've been on the bureau for so long. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But typically, and my installments are big, but typically like they like to see 2 to 3 installments, 2 to 3 revolving, 1 installment. So that's why in our recommendation, in our plan, we'll say, okay, Rachel has 1 credit card, Capital One, 10,000 limit, 6,000 balance. So on your things to do list, Rachel, I want you to work on paying that down. Okay, just work on paying it down, paying it down, paying it down.
Is
Just
there a
keep trying to pay it
benefit?
down.
Is there a benefit to me paying $1,000 a month for 10 months versus stroking one check for 10 grand?
So let's go back to what 850 scores have. They carry a 1% utilization. So
On the revolving.
On the revolving, and they look at and take into consideration installment too, but that number's different. So if you have a 6,000 limit on 10,000, so the number one thing is never be over the limit. Like you got to be at like 99%. Don't, like if you hit 10,000, don't do 10,001 because it will kill you. Go get to 99.99, right? So your first goal should be 50%. Obviously, FICO prefers 30% utilization balance, right, on that card. So they would prefer it be 3,000 or below. What's better than that, they prefer even more, is 10%. If it's 10% or below, that's even better. That would be 1,000 on a 10,000 card. But
1% is the money.
1% is the money. That's where the big deal is. 1% is what 850s carry in average. So 30 is good, 10's better, 1's the best. So with that in mind, I want you to work on paying that Capital One down, maybe have a garage sale, do whatever you got to do, come up with a couple extra $100, get that down, whatever, right? And then also you need to open up a second card. So then we give them like maybe a Capital One link we've got some affiliate relationships with, depending on what their score is, we'll use that credit card. I don't want to give somebody a Capital One link that, is 25% interest, no benefits, no nothing, no perks.
Right.
Nothing. It's a bad credit card. It's a starter card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I need you to open up this account, and you also do not have an installment account, right? So you have 1 revolving. Now we're going to get you 2 revolvings. But I also need you to get an installment account. Well, we have this company. This is a pretty cool deal. It's called Self Lender. And so what you do,
what is this?
It's super cool, man. So they've been around for about 2 or 3 years now. And and they charge so little for this. So they'll give you like a $600 or a $1,200 loan. And I say that very loosely, right? So basically they say, okay, I'll give you $1,200. Your payment's going to be $105 a month. And you pay me $100, and they don't give you the money yet. They put the money in an account. And then you pay $105 a month, and they report to the credit bureau immediately that you're making $1,000 loan. And then at the end of 12 months, then they send you back the money, all the proceeds.
Oh, they're
and like for $1,000 loan, they make like $35 or something.
Right.
So it's super, super genius, super cool. So it's like going to your bank and $1,000 loan. They'll do $2,000, $3,000, $500. They'll do the smallest amount they'll do is $60, which is good because we want the credit bureau to see at least that much or more, right? So now instead of you just having all this like 20 negative accounts, now in 1 revolving, it's almost maxed out. Now we're going to work on let's get this 10 negatives down to like 5. You open 1 more card. Now we've just helped your utilization because it's going to, if you get another $500 card, it's going to make the utilization better for your one that's a higher limit, right?
So how long does the opening of a new card hurt your score? Because if this is my
So
plan.
15% is the average age. So 15% is your average age of
Oh,
credit
so
card.
it's
So
such a
for
small
every,
part of the whole math.
well, not really, because no, not at all. It's really not, because on an 800 score, what's 15%? Like 90 points or 100 points or something like that. So that immediately means I can't get above 750 if I leave that out. If I don't.
But how long will it before it bounces back? When does that account become seasoned enough to
So
help me?
it depends on what else you have. If you have
Okay.
like 10
Classic
accounts
real
that are
estate
20
answer.
years,
It
5 years,
depends.
it really does. It really does. If you only have, because it's not the age of that account, it's the average age of all of your accounts. So if you already have a thin-ish file, like maybe your oldest accounts are like 6 and 7 years, by inserting one or two new ones, I just cut it in half again. If I have
Okay.
one at 20 years, one at 18 years, then it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It may be a different story, but
Yeah,
you want your average age over 7 years. You want your average age to get over 7 years.
I see. I got to write that down. Okay. What else? What else do people need to know? Because
Business
this is
credit.
okay. I'm glad you
It's a
said that.
This is a complete.
How?
I'm turning a complete different gear, but
Please.
really, to answer that question, business credit. I think business credit is like the best thing since like 7 Up. I'm not kidding. But I went through it. I owned a mobile home dealership, and I had a huge line of floor plan, and I had to kiss the notes, what it's called, sign a personal guarantee, and it ended up really biting me in the butt, man.
I'm
Seriously, like
in that situation right now, and
a
I
mess.
don't love it.
Yeah, I don't love it at all. So anyway, building business credit, and also like for me with my various businesses or whatever, I own a house. I just bought some land. I'm fixing to build another house. I got credit cards, whatever, fixing to buy a truck and put them with the company, not my personal. But like at a certain point, you get maxed out. My banker's not going. He's got my boat title, he's got my land title, he's got
Yes.
my ranch. Like seriously, he's going to get to a point where he says, he loves me, but man, he can only do what he can do, right?
Yeah.
So business credit is, and I think keeping your personal stuff personal is smart anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just to be able to get borrowing power or maximize your borrowing power, but with business credit, you maximize your borrowing power because now I'm creating, excuse me, an entirely different person,
Yeah.
basically.
Yes.
Let me get drinking. So with a business, with a person, you have a social security number, right? With a business, you have an EIN number that you start building business credit off of, much like a person with a social security number.
But how do you do that? And I did not attend. You did a thing on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday
Yes,
night or last night that you did it?
it was last Tuesday, but I'm going to do
Oh,
another one
geez.
this
Oh,
Tuesday.
okay.
And I didn't record it, but I'll send it to you if you can't make it. But I'm doing another one this
No,
Tuesday.
I need to. I need this because I don't
So,
understand how to even start. But it is
and
smart to
so
have it separate.
it's super smart. So how you build business credit is you have to like stack accounts, right? The good thing about business credit, like we've been talking about mixture and utilization and balances and this and that. Business credit is one thing and one thing only. Does the company pay their bills on time or not? And
Okay.
if they're late, how late are they? So like my company has an 80 paydex score, which is a perfect pay rating, right? So which means I pay my bill on time within 30 days, period.
So
So
this business credit score is not a FICO and it's not a 700 or 800 number. You just said
no,
you have an 80 paid
yep.
X score.
So an 80 is like an 800 FICO. It's a paid. You heard of Dun and Bradstreet? So
Yes.
they're the big. Their DMB is the FICO. They have a paydex score. And 80 is a perfect score. 70 is you're usually 1 week behind on your payment.
Minimum
60
payment,
is two
not
weeks
paid
behind.
off, right?
Minimum payment. Yes. So to build it though, what you have to do is you have to make sure you're set up properly. Like there's a lot of different things you have to be set up with on business credit. Example, if you don't have like a real email address, you'll get turned down. If your phone number is not listed with 411, you'll get turned down. So credibility and stability and fundability wise, you got to make sure that your business is set up right. You want to be an
Yeah.
S corp, a sole proprietor, blah blah blah. So next is you would want to start much like a child coming out, a kid, I say child, a kid coming out of college or high school, like you adding your son as an authorized user, right? So we get vendor accounts. The vendor accounts are like an authorized user or like a secured credit card, right? We got to start somewhere. That's our base. So vendors are companies that are net 30. Quill Office Supplies is one. You ever heard of Uline, a company called Uline?
I've used them.
They're one, right? So if you're set up right and you send in, you fill out an application with them and get approved, they report to the business credit bureaus.
So you can, that's how you establish and
That,
create
mhm.
a
You start with
file.
those little vendor counts. You start exactly, and that's what generates your paydex score in your D&B number. Dun and Bradstreet actually has a D&B number. That's how you generate one. D&B sells them for like $600, but they self-generate once stuff starts reporting, and then they'll
So
try to sell it.
if a business owner opened a vendor account, say you order a bunch of stuff from Uline, and then you don't buy anything else from them, do you have to keep using it to keep it alive?
Nope,
No,
not
your scores,
necessarily, because it's not costing them anything.
right?
They don't care if you don't buy, like they do care if you don't buy anything for 6 months. Now they got you on their mailing list. Now they got you 3 months from now. If you buy something, who cares? You bought
Yeah,
something. So it's totally not like personal credit. Personal credit, if you're not using it, they'll shut your account off or whatever, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like the reason they do that is because if you have a $10,000 credit card, Visa or whoever has that money like locked up for you.
yeah.
It's got to be pulled. So they've got it's set aside for that approval for that credit card. It's
And
like
that,
that.
yeah, and that's worth slowing down a minute to talk about, because what we're seeing and hearing a lot about right now is credit limits being decreased by the creditors because they either need or want that money or don't want the exposure of having it out there.
You
What do
know,
you?
I saw somebody post about that the other day, and
Hmm?
and I'm personally not seeing that. Whenever that happens, let me tell you what happens. When that happens is either that person has not used that credit, they just haven't used it. And again, I have to have $30,000 secured for you if I give you a $30,000 credit card. If you're not using it, it's not making me any money. Period. It's not
Yeah,
making me any money. Or if the whole reason the credit cards give you your FICO score is so they can get it every month. So if I see a pattern in the FICO score going, you were at 30,000 limit when you had an 825, and now all of a sudden you've maxed out 4 other credit cards, and now we went from 0 to 50%, your score is dropping all of a sudden. If I'm a
yes,
creditor and I have access to your credit and I'm pulling the file, it's not even like that. Robots alert them. Then the first thing they're going to do is like, we should probably shut this down right now because they see what's coming. So,
yeah.
or you're late on your payment, and those are the only 3 reasons you cut down a credit card. There's no shift in need. Like it doesn't happen that fast. Not in my
Okay,
opinion.
no,
I don't.
that's
I've
interesting.
not talked to any professional or financial good, and I've talked to some about it, and they're like, I don't
Mine have
foresee
not.
that to be
Mine
a
haven't
problem.
changed. I
Mine
just
haven't
keep
either.
hearing
Mine
about
haven't
it.
either. Yeah, it's funny though because I can't remember who it was, or I saw 1 or 2 posts about it, and all the comments in it, everybody was giving their opinion,
Yeah,
which none of it was correct. But I mean, I'm not one to
dude,
like
it's
say
back to the
whatever.
beginning, right? We're
Yeah,
here to
yeah,
give real information, not high volumes of shitty information. So back to
true,
the
true.
business credit. So what else is different? Like vendor accounts can help you. It's literally, do you pay your bills on
So
time? How long
so
does
you
it
start
take
with
to
vendor
get?
accounts.
Yes.
So a vendor account, like if I go and apply for Quill or Uline or whatever, I'm approved today. And you said go order a bunch of stuff. That's the thing. You don't have to order a bunch of stuff. You can just go order like a roll of tape. And once that roll of tape gets here, you just send them the $3, right? Now that's reporting to the business credit bureau. To get a
As long
score,
as
to create a score,
as long as
get
you're
that 5 count.
financing the tape, right? Or is it anything you buy
Yeah.
from Uline? Yeah, you're financing through
Well, you're
them.
not even financing.
It's a net
But it's only
30.
it's net 30. It's net
Yes.
30, right? So and that's why they'll just leave it open. That's why they'll just leave it open. Why, it's not costing them anything to let you have access to my pens and paper
It's kind of
to
like a
order
bar
more next
tab.
year. Exactly right.
Kinda.
Exactly. Sit there all yeah, and just leave it open. Not at all, but I feel you. I
Yeah.
understand. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. So then after you get 5 vendor accounts, next you would get like 3 to 5 like store type accounts. A store type account is like what kind of gas stations do y'all have up there? Like
We
Amoco and
have,
Sunoco and stuff?
yeah, we have Sunoco, we have BP, we have Speedway, we have Shell.
So like those cards. So like those cards, all those cards. Like we have Valeros and
Yep.
racetracks and stuff. So like all those cards, those are store type cards, and all those fleet cards, gas cards. So those are the next level. So to get like a racetrack or speed track or whatever
Yeah, yeah.
Shell card in the name of your company only, their requirements are probably to have like three vendor accounts. You know what I'm saying? So once you get the vendor accounts, then you get like store type accounts. Macy's actually has a business credit card. Man, everybody does. Home Depot does. Lowe's does. So to get a Lowe's card, I got a $20,000 Home Depot credit card in the name of my company, and I'm dying to go max it out. I just got
Yeah.
no, I don't max it out.
I have a bathroom
So,
remodel
so
coming
those
up. Just heads up,
you need to get business good. So I'll send you my card.
please.
So you build your vendors, and then you go like those store types: Lowe's, Home Depot, Sunoco, stuff like that. From
Costco, I
there,
think, has one
you go
too.
up. Yes, yes. So then from there, once you establish your vendor accounts and you establish 3 or 4 or 5 store type accounts, then you start moving up to like regular credit cards, um, or like uh, I just financed my truck. I hadn't financed it 'cause it's still being built, but I'm financing my truck through Ally Finance, which is like the old GMAC, in the
Yep.
name of my company only. Toyota does it, Ford does it, and what their requirements are like an 80 paydex score. They require an 80 paydex score. They require, I think, 3 or 4 vendor accounts, and that's really it. And then it just keeps going higher and higher. After that, you'd start getting like $10,000 or $20,000 credit cards. The cool thing about business credit cards, when you get a $10,000 or $20,000 card, they don't even ask you; they just send them to you, and it's like ready to activate.
Like,
That
here, use this.
they're so much, they're so different than personal credit cards because they, like, I just got a Bank of America card for I think 10 or 15,000. I didn't even open it, but we got approved, and I told Melissa, I was like, just let's get it because it's 0% for 18 months, and you can do a balance transfers with it, right? So like I'm building
Mhm.
the house and all this crap and stuff, and $15,000 is 0% money for 18 months could come in handy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Seriously, credit card or not, because you with their credit cards you can get a check, you can get cash advance. So what a business owner can do, if I'm starting out a company, I can make payroll on a credit card. As stupid as it sounds, it's not necessarily a credit card. I'm getting a $15,000 loan for 18 months at 0% interest.
Yes.
So if I'm starting up my company and I need to use that, or I need to buy, maybe I'm using that for I wouldn't even use that for gas money and stuff. I'm talking about like this. That's like a loan in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to put bubble gum and crap on a credit card and get no interest for 18 months. I mean, I would do something with the
Something
group of
major.
money. Yeah,
It
especially as a
also,
business owner because
yeah, well, and then you're leveraging the business entity and not your personal reputation. Not that you want things to go sideways, but sometimes they do.
you
And
can walk like you rightfully so, because if an owner of another corporation down the street, if they go out of business or whatever, it's not all over his credit.
right.
I'm just I own my company. I'm the CEO of my company. Why do I got to take that bad?
Yeah.
But he don't. So you're absolutely right. Yeah. Plus, it's safety. It frees you up. Like, especially like truck drivers and stuff like that. You talk about piercing the corporate veil. If you're driving a truck that you purchased in your credit and you kill somebody, like they're coming after you, Jack. They just are.
Yes.
As
Yeah,
opposed to an
absolutely.
LLC or an S corp that financed that truck that you work for. You can shut that company down and go open a new one tomorrow. Like seriously, that's the benefit. That's one of the benefits. Also, like I said, just the freeing up your own credit report. You know what I'm saying? You get to a certain utilization point. I mean, hey, we've been in business 15 years. I started this company on what credit cards I had and $750 and a bunch of yard signs. You know what I'm saying? So like I did what I
Yes.
had to do. So, I mean, like business credit, it could come in so handy for like in so many different ways. I could have grown my company so much faster had I really known about it when I started it. So we sure are
I've
talking all over the place.
Yeah,
Are we
no, well,
following
cause
you?
yeah,
Everybody's
no,
following you good?
I am loving this and I'm tracking. It's all new information. So I'm busy over here taking notes and I just keep coming back to. So I just started a business. I have a brand new entity up until a couple months ago. And still today, like all of my business ventures have been fully funded by me on my personal guarantees all over the place. And it feels very
Yep.
heavy. Had I had this conversation with you beforehand, had I known, I could have structured everything ahead of time to hit the ground running and not have, I mean, this could really handle some cash flow problems for me, honestly,
hmm
because
And the thing is, once you get the credit cards, the next step is true loans, like true loans. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And the idea, behind business credit is to, like, if you build it properly, then yes, you can cash flow and fund and use a lot of that along the way. But the idea is for you to be able to walk into I wouldn't advise this, but walk into a Chase Bank and get $100,000 in the name of your company, and then and not even look back. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you had an 800 credit score, you could walk in any bank and get whatever you want.
they will
Seriously, you know what
clamor
I'm
to
saying?
give you money.
It's same thing with an 80 paydex score, as long as you have like 10 accounts or more with a little bit of depth. And depth meaning 10 accounts or more, because they know you've had it for a while. Most people don't go out and try to build this in 6 months. That's what we do. We build in 6 months what looks like it's taken 10 years to grow, because you have an 80 credit score and you have 15 accounts. That doesn't happen overnight. That takes the normal business owner years and years and years to do that.
Yeah.
But
So
we've just, again,
how
game
do I,
plan it
how
and
do
boom,
I,
boom, boom.
how do I hire you to help me do this? Or will you do it for me?
Yes, we actually no, because, but yes, yes and no, yes and no.
Okay.
So
You'll
we
hold my
have a
hand.
thing. It's called I'll hold your hand. We have a thing called our 700 Business Suite, completely different company from my credit repair company. So we have this portal. You log into this portal, and there's these 15 steps to make sure you're credible and fundable. Right. The first one is your telephone number listed with 411? No, it's a cell phone. That ain't gonna work. Nobody's gonna give you a $10,000 credit card with a cell phone. Like, let's get
Yep.
that straight, right? So we got to fix that. What's the solution? I don't have a phone number. Vantage. So in our suite, there's like 5 or 6 different places that like that that will give you a phone transfer.
Yep.
You could get a business phone line that is listed
Forwards
with
to your cell phone.
411, and then forwards to your cell phone. So boom,
That's what I have.
that's the roundabout. That's the way we go around it. So address is the same way. You got to make sure your address is. You can't have PO box. PO box is a business creditor. No, because when you don't pay me for my paper, how am I going to come find you?
Right.
Right? Or when you change PO boxes, how am I going to send you the bills? Right? I can't. So that's a no-no. They automatically turn you down. It doesn't matter what your paydex for. They'll turn you down if you have a PO box. So there's like 10 or 15 things. So you go in, you enter your data, your information, and that's almost like the credit application first. So now it says, okay, now let's get your credit reports. Step 2 in our system is let's get your credit report. So then you get your Equifax business, Experian business, and your Dun and Bradstreet. Make sure nothing bad's on there. Let's see what's on there. What's up? What's going on? Have you ever even looked at them? And nothing bad's on yours, right? But you have to get them. Then we start. Step 3 is we start building credit. So in my suite, there's like 60 vendors that report to the business credit bureaus. And so all their stipulations, like Uline, it shows what you have to have. They're all vendor accounts. You don't have to have anything. So we say, okay, pick 5 of these and open them. And by opening them, all you have to do is push a button, because the data has been saved as an application in our system or whatever, right? So, and then you have a coaching, you have a funding guy that try to get you business money right now, loans and stuff based on different things, maybe with personal guarantee, or maybe with this, or maybe your own credit or whatever. But the idea is let's build it, and then pay that off and get it the right way. You know what I'm saying? So there are some funding solutions immediately. Example is if somebody that takes $30,000 a month in credit cards and has been for a year and can prove it, like there are funding sources that people will loan you money. It's high interest and it costs a little bit, but still, it's in there. So as we're building those accounts, you also have a funding manager. But on the credit building side, you would have one of our our business credit consultants. You'll be assigned to a person who will walk you through anything. But really, our system, our portal, does it all for you. It tells you exactly what to do.
How so
As you
you
do it,
can
you do your first.
And you're saying this can happen in 6 months as long as it can.
We guarantee you. We guarantee that within 6 months you'll have at least $50,000 worth of business credit.
And
Which is
okay, so what do you have to say about like, I don't think I have any of these things, and I get shit in the mail all the time offering me cabbage funding and PayPal money for my business. Like, is that helpful? I haven't
that's
said
high.
yes to it. What's that? It's a lie?
I mean, it's high. That's high.
Oh,
That's
it's
high
high.
risk money. That's high money.
Got it.
Like it's
Gotcha.
expensive.
Yes.
So I don't know. It depends. Like for me, like depending on what you do for a living, right? But I mean, like or your business or whatever. But like let's say I'm in the mobile home business, right? Or I'm buying and selling, I'm flipping houses, right? So if I go borrow $45,000 from one of these companies, and I mean the payback's crazy. They make you pay it back daily at like $300, and like on 45,000, you're going to pay back probably on 45,000. They're going to make 25 grand on you. It's high money. It's super high money. So like, but it's $45,000 cash. I could take $45,000 cash, go buy a mobile home, put it and flip it, and for 150 grand, right? So if that's my only option to get something going, possibly, you know what I'm saying? Possibly, and I've done those before. The idea is to get them that. The idea is to not have to use those. And as you're building business credit, or once you build business credit, then you don't have to deal with those high risk lenders. What those guys are like down here, they're called like American General Finance or World Finance. You know, those high risk companies, they'll loan you $2,000 for an above ground pool at 19% APR.
Right.
Whatever. They're like that. You want to avoid them, but if you can't go to the bank and you want to put your kids in the pool this summer, like you've got to pay to play, you know what I'm saying? So
right. It's all contextual. It depends. That's like the most famous answer for all of the questions. It really does depend.
This depends, really depends. So, and what we charge for that is we charge $4,500 for it, is what our system, it's a lifetime membership. But when I do my webinars, I do them for $2,500. For you, if you ever want to do it, or if any of your listeners or people or whatever, $1,900 is what I charge my brother to do this, and that's what I would do yours for. Because my cost is crazy in it, man. First off, it's a lifetime deal. The portal was it's just there's a lot of people involved in it.
Well, and it sounds like you had to reverse. You got to reverse engineer the algorithms for so many different places.
You do.
Okay.
Yeah, and business credit. The thing about business credit, they're always changing who reports, who don't report, or their stipulations are changing. You know, and at first, when we first started this a decade ago, like the stipulations would change every time we got a new person. You know, so like we were getting calls every day, like, "Hey, you said we can get approved here," but they're saying now you have to have this. So now we don't even post it until we know what whatever wants to change.
If it's
changed. It's a pretty cool system. So if you ever want to do it, let me know. And if you want to jump on that call with us next Tuesday,
I do.
Let me know, where I can send you the recording, because I go through it in detail and I give some handouts and stuff. So
no, 100%.
You could do it yourself, but it's a pain in the butt.
With what free time again? When was I going to do that?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'll just go sell another house and you can do this for me.
How, are you selling a lot?
I am reducing my production intentionally. I launched a brokerage with 2 locations, and that is currently requiring me to think about everything. And much of what I'm doing is brand new to me. So am I selling a lot? The answer is it depends on what you're comparing me to. If you're comparing me to me last year, no. But if you want to count my team's production, yes.
So no, yeah, that's. I mean, I don't sell anything. My guys sell anything. But I count their sales as mine too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, then yes, I'm doing awesome. Thanks for asking.
So how many agents do you have in each brokerage?
Not enough. Right now I have, and we're not going to go too far down this rabbit trail because I don't want to steal the momentum of your conversation.
Yes.
My Brighton office is me and my team, so there are 5 of us there. And then Fenton, we have an awesome agent, Laura James, is running that office. So right now I think it's just her right there. But, that won't last long. In fact, I don't think I've talked about it publicly until right now.
That's awesome, Rachel.
Yeah,
good for
I'm excited.
You. So I didn't really. I knew that you had a broker. I knew you had some stuff going on, but I hadn't talked to you, so I didn't know exactly what. But man, that's awesome. So you opened up a year ago, you said?
No. I've been running a team for about a year, and The brokerage is 2 months old. Like this is all brand new.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Golly, yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
so you can see why this business credit conversation is important. I do have an S corp. My team is an S corp. This show is run as part of my company, right? So, but I don't have any credit. It's all backed by yours truly, and that is a heavy place to be sometimes.
Let me tell you where that scares me is in your space. It's in like my credit repair company. The good thing is I don't have to buy product and blah 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 and this and that, right? But in the mobile home business, when I like the houses, like we had to buy a house, but $100,000 house before we could sell a house, right?
Yeah, you're
So
buying
like
inventory.
selling 50 houses a month, completely different story, right? But
Mhm.
like what would scare me for you as you're going to grow and continue to grow, one, you might want to do like some car incentives, whatever car programs. As we build credit now, then man, you could do car incentives, give somebody not a car allowance, but the company actually buys it or leases it. You take 100% write off,
Mhm.
and then they're getting like a $600 part of their pay or whatever. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So like, so there's a lot of benefits like that. But the problems or the things that could like, I don't know, I'd be afraid of is like rent or whatever. I don't like signing personal guarantees for a 5-year lease
Right.
at 3,000 a month.
Right.
In 2 months from now, I realized my partner wasn't what I thought, so I shut it down. Or or nobody wants to work in this place that I thought they were going to, so I shut it down. And if
Yeah.
I shut it down, now guess who is it's responsible
But
for
I
the
still
rest
got
of
to
it?
find the money. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
That's exactly
exactly.
my
So
position.
that's what I don't like about it. It's signing a lease. That's my biggest thing is a lease, man. But I always sign long term leases too, and I'm not afraid of that. But in the event in the in the event that like something goes south,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, and it's all about balance, right, Billy? Because I could maybe sign that personal guarantee if that's the only thing that's going to get me the lease on the thing that I want. But if I have that personal
are there
guarantee,
options? Yeah, but if you
well,
have other options, then you don't have to. Like, I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to grow and invest
for
in
sure.
myself, and like I will play ball with the best of them, man. And I'll roll the dice. But like, if I don't have to,
Well,
I'd rather not.
let's imagine this business venture shits the bed. And not only did I sign a lease for 2 years or 5 years, I actually signed a 2-year lease with a personal guarantee, and I financed the launch on a personal credit card, and I had to buy a vehicle to do this business, and so I've got all of this consumer debt that is tied to the success of this business. And if that thing shits the bed,
Yeah,
wouldn't it have been nice to have leveraged all this other debt somewhere else, even though I still
yep,
had to sign that personal guarantee for my lease? Now I'm on the hook
yep.
for this much a month, not this.
And then you've got copy rentals. You've got internet subscriptions. Listen to this. When I worked in Mesquite, I moved to Rockwall about 4 years ago. Our business. I was in Mesquite for a long time. Well, like the last 2 years I was there, I had really really slow internet. So they came and they're like, "Hey, we can do this. Blah blah blah. All we need to do is get you to sign this thing for X amount." It was a 7-year deal or something like that, and I signed it right before we left. And really, what I thought I was signing, and it's my own fault. I should have dug deeper, but I would have still signed it. I thought I was buying like $100,000 worth of phones, and it was like 60 grand or something. But I
Yeah.
thought that I was buying like phones, and like that was what the average of the bill was going to be. But like I've broken phone bills before or internet bills, whatever. Well, what happened was they had to put like those new T5 lines or whatever in front of our building, and they made me pay for it. They charged.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got
The build out.
60,000. Yeah, they put it in my bill and like gave me a 10-year payout or 7-year payout. And they left that part 1,000% out, man. They did. And so as soon as I moved, I tried to transfer my service, and they don't come out here. They don't service this area.
Yes.
So I had to
I,
cancel that service and go with Spectrum here. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, they came at me hard for the 60 grand. They came at I finally got my attorney involved. It cost me a couple thousand to get out of it. But like seriously, I don't
Dude,
see how they could do that. They could keep, but that's
that
what I'm
is,
talking about. Like
yeah, that's
that was
shady
on
shit.
me because I signed the personal guarantee on the internet at that time, not the company. There's just
Yeah.
shit like that all the time when you're a business owner coming at you. And what do? We sign it because Rachel needs to go train so and so to be able to sell another house. Right?
Yes.
I mean, I don't have time to mess with the cop. I don't have time to read that 10-page thing. Like
This to me is just like the terms and conditions we all agree to for whatever app it is we need to do our business.
Yes,
I'm like,
yes.
whatever, take it. I need to move forward.
Yeah, I trust that you put the right information on paper for us. Yeah, exactly.
So we are like 90 minutes into no, that's not 90 minutes. Is that right? 50 minutes?
No, we are hour 20.
We are an hour 20. So I feel
Wow.
like, is there anything that you came to the table with? I know it goes fast, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Is there anything that you came to the table with today that we did not uncover in this conversation? I want to make sure and give you the opportunity to say like the critical message if you had one when you walked in.
Man, no, I feel like probably your audience is probably different than a lot of the ones that I talk to or whatever. You know, I don't think I'm speaking to like so much of a consumer direct audience or whatever. I think that I'm more on the talking to entrepreneurs and business owners and whatever, right? So I spoke on Marshall Silver stage last month or something.
You did?
And
congratulations.
yeah, awesome.
He's a badass.
He's
Nice
a good
job.
dude.
Yeah.
I love that guy. So my big thing, like to that crowd, like entrepreneurs, I feel like that's where we're at here is like leverage, man. And like, so if you do not have a 700 credit score, like you're playing way too small. You're like,
Okay.
Seriously, you are. Like if you have a 650 credit score, man, you're not like taking advantage of like 0% offers. You're not like taking advantage of maybe like being able to like rent a building, period, or not. You know what I'm saying? Like the 700 credit score is it's just a game changer. You know, so
Okay.
first off, like that's the first thing. The second thing to that is if you own a business and you're not leveraging and monetizing your business's credit bureau report and score, I mean, you're leaving a lot of opportunities and stuff on the table. You really, really are. So to this audience, what I would like to bring or hope that I have brought is like to like drive that point home. You know, if anybody needs help with their credit, call me. I'll sign you up. I'll tell you what to do. You can do it yourself. Like I'll help you. But like don't miss the point of I'm not so concerned about this audience fixing their credit as much as hearing like the importance. If you don't have 720, it don't matter what's wrong with your credit. Get there, fix it, figure it out. Call me, do something about it because you're never going to be the realtor that you want to be with a 580 credit score. You're never going to be the business owner. Hell, I couldn't be the father I wanted to be with the 500 credit score.
There it is.
But you know what I'm saying? So like,
there it is.
Yeah, for real. So like, get the weight off your back and like, man, like that's the first thing I think is.
Well, and remember, it's a game.
700 score. It is a game. And
don't hate the player, hate the game.
That's
but
right. And
you
I've
just
just
gotta
figured out how to play it.
Yeah, figuring out how to play it. And that's like, it's so complex. It's intentionally Byzantine and confusing. And you as a consumer are not supposed to know. So a guy like Billy who knows can point you on the right path. And this wasn't intended to be like a come sell your shit on the show, Billy, but like it's more complex than you think. And you may think that you're helping your shit by paying your bills. And sometimes that's not the case, which is illogical.
Yes, it just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I'll get your shirt out in the mail to you. I'll throw Cassandra one in there too. So
thank you. I love your logo. And so we're going to put some links to your stuff in the show notes, but I think it helps if you can recite the best contact number and or your website for people who listen and don't watch.
Absolutely. So the best way to reach me or my team or anyone here at our offices, our phone number is 972-279-0444. And again, it's 972-279-0444. My website is super easy to remember. It's 700, the number 700, like that's the goal, 700creditrepair.com. So
Beautiful.
You can go to 700creditrepair.com. You can sign up through there. You can contact me through there. You can get a hold of us through there. It's like a very interactive website. What's the matter?
Love it. Nothing. It's always a cadence problem, and I constantly talk over people, not on purpose. I'm working on it.
I do too. I do too. I am too. And not only that, but I don't know when to stop sometimes, like right now.
Yeah. Well, because there's so much information in your brain. I feel like we're wired similarly. Your brain just keeps serving you the next thing, and you want people to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And especially if I like you. You know what I'm saying? Like if I like somebody and enjoy having a conversation, I'm on. If not, it's hard to get anything out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to get the fuck out of here.
I like you. So,
Well, thank
It's
you. I like you
super.
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That's exactly what I got to do.
is
So
it the same
that's
contact
good.
info? Sorry, is it the same contact info for business or personal? Is it a
Yes,
different?
yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, watch your inbox
Same
for
number,
my
same.
form.
Okay, yeah. I think he already sent it to me, so I'll find it real quick and fill it out. So,
Oh
and
no,
also,
Billy.
yeah. So if anybody has any,
I mean to
go ahead.
apply for help with business credit. Like watch your
Oh, okay,
inbox for
okay.
me
All
to
right.
fill out the form to buy your shit.
You got it. Okay, all right. I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right,
Don't forget to
awesome.
remind me of the discount, though. Don't forget to
Oh,
remind
oh,
me of the
right.
discount.
Oh yeah, should we talk really quick about pricing? How much are you? You're not so expensive that you're going
Sure.
to ruin my credit, are you?
That's a good one. No, our credit repair programs are $1,400 for like one person. Like I have a homeownership guarantee. We actually guarantee our clients our homeownership program that will raise their score above a 620, which is what you have to have
Yep.
within 120 days, within 4 months. So my homeownership guarantee is $1,400 for one. You can pay $200 down and then $200 a month for 6 months. And then if it's a couple, it's $300 down, $300 a month for 6 months, which is $2,100. And then my business credit is normally $4,500. I do
That's
webinars
right.
and run specials for $2,500. But if anybody on this, I've offered you $1,900, and I would do the same thing for any of your listeners, friends, whatever
Use
circle.
promo code AgentRx.
AgentRx is the promo code. Yes,
There
just
we
say
go.
AgentRx.
There it is. It's the secret code word. Awesome. I feel like we could go on for hours. Perhaps we should revisit this topic. Not even kidding.
Yes. Next time, what we'll do is we'll
Yeah.
say, all right, man, we'll break it down into phases. Like we'll only talk about this or only
Yes.
talk about this. But yeah, like that, I feel like that was a really good conversation. It was probably a lot, but like I think that was great stuff, man.
I agree. There's so much that I didn't know. And maybe next time I'll fly you to Michigan. We'll put you in the studio.
All right, done. Just let me know when.
Solve
Just
our
let me know
cadence
when.
problem.
I've never been there before, so I'll have to get your sister up there too, and that way we can. I guess
Perfect.
she never come back in.
Did
she ever try to
No,
get back
she
in?
didn't. No, I
Did she
think
ever-
I think she was having problems with her internet connection at her house. Which is a
She
bummer.
wasn't wanting to admit that.
She would have so much better questions for you because she is a loan officer.
Yes, but I couldn't have been very truthful with what we were talking about as far as what loan officers think they know. So that would have been a bad deal, really.
No, it would
You know
be
what I'm
it would be
saying?
totally fine. She calls me like all loan officers call realtors real turds. So I'm happy to hear that there's somebody trash talking the loan officers too. Anyway, on that
Well, I
note,
sure enjoyed it, dear.
so
Yes.
thank you for coming. And if you're listening, if you found value in what we've brought you today, if you don't mind, like or follow or do whatever it is that lets us know you're there on whatever platform you're listening on. And if you're watching, please comment. We love interacting with the people. We can only get better if you tell us how.
For sure.
All right. Thank you, Billy.
Awesome. I sure appreciate your time. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye.
The info given is current as of this recording, but remember, the market changes and real estate is hyper local.